ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, we are continuing the countdown to episode 600 by taking a look at the movie that came in third place in the episode 600 tournament. It is a horror comedy from 2015 called Lumberjack Man. Now, a little bit of a story about how I came to know about Lumberjack Man. You see, I was first told about this movie by a coworker. Actually, to be a bit more specific, it was one of my supervisors who had watched it on TV, could not remember the title. The only thing he knew was it had something to do with a demon lumberjack dragging a giant wagon full of pancakes in the woods and killing horny teenagers at a summer camp. I honestly thought that he was lying until I looked it up and found out that sure as shit, the goddamn thing is real. And then, at that point, I knew I had to watch it. And it actually took me a while to find a copy I could actually watch that wasn't burned on a fucking DVD-R. And I really wish that people would stop selling DVD-Rs on Amazon. That whole thing sounds really fucking stupid. Anyway, wound up having to download it off of... Did I find this one on YouTube? I believe I did. And then, when it was time for me to make the episode 600 bracket, I threw it on there essentially as a fucking joke. I did not expect it to make it into the final four, but frankly, it did, and that's fucking amazing. Now, I finally get to watch this thing. I finally get to see the pure concentrated batshit that this movie apparently is made out of. And I've been looking forward to it, man. I really have high hopes for this thing. But the only way I'm going to find out if this thing is any good at all is if I shut up and I push play. And I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Lumberjack Man. You know, guys, I felt a bit of a pang of dread when I saw Adam Sessler's name in the credits. Because I used to watch X-Play. I know full well that Adam Sessler can't act if his life depends on it. And he has not proven me wrong here. He's been talking for about the last minute and a half. I want his character to die in the bloodiest way possible in this film, because that might make me feel just a little bit better, because, god damn it, listening to Adam Sessler attempt to act is fucking torturous. Well, I can say that at least our lumberjack killer is not fucking around. Holy shit, within the past few minutes he's already amassed a body count of 4, and every single one of those kills has been fucking awesome. So at least in terms of kills, this movie's really good. The acting is kind of shit, but at least the kills are cool, so that's at least a positive. I really wish I could tell you guys anything else about this movie outside of the kills are awesome. Unfortunately, that's really all this movie has going for it. The acting is... Did she just put shrimp sauce in that pancake mix? That looked fucking disgusting. Anyway, I'm not gonna comment on that. The writing is kind of shit. And by kind of shit, I mean, oh dear God, does this writing ever fucking suck. The acting is horrible. Worst still comes from Adam Sessler, because, you know, bitch don't know how to act. The only thing this thing really has going for it is the kills. The kills are the only salvageable part of this movie. And unfortunately, a horror movie which only has decent kills is not a good horror movie. You need at least passable writing. And this doesn't even have that. God, this is gonna suck, man. So, let me see if I understand this. Our demon logger lumberjack thing is doing what he's doing as a form of vengeance because he was killed by some Texan who then took the logger's pancake recipe and made millions on it. I wish I was kidding. That is the story behind the demon logger, is he was killed by some dude who then took his pancake recipe and made millions on it. So now the demon logger stalks these woods every 30 years for one day and kills anyone in his path to use their blood to coat his giant pancakes he drags around in a wagon. I understand it sounds really fucking stupid, But frankly, it's the most creative thing this movie has given us that isn't a fucking kill. So I'm at least willing to say that it's something. Is he finally dead? Yes! Adam Sessler's finally dead, and nothing of value was fucking lost. God damn it. I had waited the whole movie for his character to fucking eat it. I don't give a shit if that counts as a fucking spoiler. Character was irritating as shit, and I hated his fucking guts. I'm happy to see him fucking dead. Perhaps maybe if Sessler knew how to fucking act, perhaps maybe then I would fucking care. But since he can't act, and his character was irritating as shit, his death is probably the most satisfying one in this whole goddamn movie. Now, if only we had a decent fucking story to go with that, this whole thing would be a lot more pleasurable. But, unfortunately, writing fucking sucks, man. Well, guys, that was Lumberjack Man. Good God, that was Lumberjack Man. Okay. Wow. Jesus Christ, where to fucking start? Okay, writing. I want to give out a free lesson to anybody who wants to make a horror movie sometime in the future. Okay? This is a very important lesson. I want you to take note, because this is very important. When you're writing your horror movie, all of your potential victims, you have to have at least one likable one. The one that we are going to follow throughout most of the film. The one who's probably going to be one of the sole survivors. We need one likable character. Otherwise, we're following a bunch of shitheads and douchebags, and it's not worth watching then. Guess what this movie has? An entire cast made up of shitheads and douchebags. You're not going to find a single likable one in the bunch, and as each one is slowly killed off, you are just happy that there is one less mound of cringe to deal with as the movie's going. So, let's talk about our characters for just a minute. Jesus Christ. First of all, like I said, there isn't a single likable one in the bunch, but the plot kind of goes like so. So, the staff of this Christian summer camp thing are all going down to the camp in order to clean it up because the kids are coming the next day. I don't know why you would do all of the cleanup only 24 hours before, the kids are supposed to show up. You'd think you'd start the cleanup like a week ahead of time or something, give yourself a little bit of a fucking run-up. But no, let's get everything ready around 24 hours before the kids are supposed to show up, and we can celebrate it all with pancakes! Oh, Jesus Christ. And then there's the demon logger, who is killing people and using their blood to coat his gigantic pancakes that he keeps on a, mobile fucking griddle that he carries with him. There's a doctor who has a disturbing amount of knowledge about the history of the demon logger and how he comes out every 30 years, yada, yada, yada. We have a sheriff and her deputy. The sheriff honestly wants nothing to do with this, and the deputy's a retard. That's it for characters. I have just summed up all of our... Because, guys, there is no fucking differentiating personality amongst any member of the staff. I know that Adam Sessler's character, what the fuck was his name? Doug, I think? He basically is the head... He is, like, the head dude in charge. So he's the one everybody's supposed to listen to. There's another character who's... who I guess is like the camp chef. You can tell that he's the camp chef because he wears a stupid-looking chef's hat in every shot he's fucking in. Beyond those two, no one else has any kind of differentiating characteristic outside of, well, certain ones have tits and the other ones don't. The ones who do have tits are almost guaranteed to, pull them out at any given time because this movie wants nothing more than to drown you in blood and titties. And, I really don't mind that. That's totally fine, but I kind of sort of like a justification for titties to be brought out, okay? I guess that's just me. If I honestly just wanted rampant, pointless fucking nudity, I would just watch a porno. Then I'd get more out of it than this. Anyway, so when you have two characters, and they're like, over by the lake, and they're like, hey, I know. I want to go skinny fucking dipping. And then they just jump in, they have like a fucking splash fight, and then this little fat fucking pervert sitting there, staring at him and shit, and then he gets crushed by a fucking tree. That whole thing was set up so that way you could see two women with fake tits having a splash fight in the fucking lake, and then some goofus gets crushed by a fucking tree. And you will probably completely forget about the goofus until when everyone's eating pancakes at the end of the fucking day, and Sessler pulls out this mound of fucking skin, which happens to have Goofus's face on it, complete with his fucking glasses. It looks really cheap and it looks really shit, but that there is more special effects. The writing here was literally just doing nothing more than finding ways to either cover the screen in blood or titties. And it does it very poorly in terms of the titties. It does it kind of creatively in terms of the blood. Let's talk about the kills, because the kills are probably the only positive this entire film has. Our kills here are incredibly creative. We have everything from our psycho taking one of his victims and folding him into essentially a table so they can try to eat their pancakes on this human table. Of course, the woman's only about yay fucking wide at the waist. His pancakes are about yay big, so they don't fit. So in a rage, he grabs her in a big ball and hucks her into a tree, and it's that kills her. So she's still alive when her body's folded into essentially a table shape. We have another woman who gets caught in a snare, who then has a syrup tap jammed into her forehead, which then drains all of the brain, all the blood and brain fucking juice from out of her head, and it goes right onto the griddle, the little mobile griddle wagon thing that's full of giant pancakes. About the pancakes, I found it rather odd that every time somebody would come to the wagon full of giant pancakes, not only were the pancakes completely clean, which must mean that the Lumberjack man was making fuckloads of pancakes between each and every kill, but also everybody would take note of it. They're like, those are some big fucking pancakes. That actually is a line in this fucking movie. Is some fucking gimptard walks up to the wagon, walks past it, looks all wide-eyed and goes, those are some big fucking pancakes. And then he dies. So the only fucking characterization I can give him is he knows what pancakes look like, because he didn't have any other personality beyond that. Anyway, our kills here are at least creative. Most of them are creative. Actually, yeah, damn near every kill is incredibly creative and cool, and that would probably mean a hell of a lot more if there was a higher body count in this film. And this film has a pretty sizable body body count. The problem is that instead of spacing out this, body count evenly across the across the hour and 40-minute runtime this movie has, instead he kills 4 of them in just one big cluster, and then we wait a bit, and then he kills another. We wait a bit, he kills 3 more, and then we wait quite a while, and then it's the big massacre at the fucking end. It's like, if that was all spaced out evenly, I probably wouldn't have cared about the shitbag writing. So our story sucks. Our characters are boring. Well, wait, there is one element of the story I thought was sort of cool, and that's the origin of the Lumberjack man. How he was a lumberjack in the woods who was making his pancakes, and this hunter from Texas just happens to smell the pancakes and wants to try to forge a business deal. And when the lumberjack says no, then the Texan drowns the lumberjack in a vat of syrup and steals his pancake recipe, and has been selling it in box form ever since. So now every 30 years on that same day, the Lumberjack man comes out and spends 24 hours killing people and covering giant pancakes in their fucking blood, I guess, as vengeance against the Texan who murdered him and stole his pancake recipe. Oh, and his weakness is syrup, because that's what killed him in the first place. And our doctor, who's an expert on this fucking thing, doesn't know until the sheriff accidentally splashes some syrup on the Lumberjack man and he screams. So, apparently he's an expert on everything except what can actually kill the fucking thing. That part I thought was a little bit stupid, but oh well. And also the whole weakness to syrup was also kind of dumb, but at least the origin was sort of cool. I am going to grant it that. Acting. Boy howdy was the acting ever terrible in this film. I knew going in that Adam Sessler was gonna suck, because as I stated, I used to watch X-Play when it was on TV. And Adam Sessler was fucking cancerous on that show because he couldn't act. The man does not know how to deliver a joke, and he cannot read a line and make it sound believable. I learned that watching X-Play, and apparently the time between him leaving X-Play and him working on this fucking movie, he has gotten worse. His acting is by far the worst in this entire film, and I am almost totally convinced that at least half of the women in this thing have probably worked in porn at some point. So, there are possible porn actresses in this thing who act better than Adam Sessler. Process that. Now, I had a glint of hope when I saw Michael Madsen's name in the credits. Here's the thing, though, is that Michael Madsen is a very odd duck when it comes to acting, because you never know what the fuck kind of performance you're going to get from him from film to film. Because in certain movies, such as, let's say, Reservoir Dogs and Sin City and Kill Bill, he kicks ass. He fucking turns in amazing shit. And then there's stuff like Holes, where he puts no effort in, well, Holes and this, where he puts in no fucking effort, and you wonder why the fuck he even bothered showing up on set in the first place. So, yeah, Michael Madsen could have saved this, but instead he decided to phone it in, and fuck him for phoning it in. But then again, since the rest of the cast also phoned it in, and out of all of them, at least he is the one who sucks the least, I guess I can give him props for at least being the least fucking shit amongst our cast. The only one who I could even say is even halfway decent in their role is the man who plays our titular Lumberjack man. But he doesn't have to say anything. He just has to stand around and look all mean and menacing, and he has to shout, occasionally. He has to do, like, a fucking roar, and that's fine. When he's actually sitting there and, like, lumbering around and kicking over corpses and, you know, doing all of this other shit, all of that is fine. I don't know if the guy can actually, you know, verbally act, but at least in terms of body language, he's fantastic. So yeah, our best actor is whoever the fuck was playing the Lumberjack man. Michael Madsen comes in a distant second. Almost the entire cast comes in a very close third, and coming in dead fucking last is Adam Sessler. Good fucking God, I never want to see Adam Sessler in another goddamn movie as long as I fucking live. Anyway, moving onward. Special effects. I can say the special effects are certainly a mixed bag. I mentioned when the fat nerdy Goofus's face was found in a stack of pancakes, that looked awful. However, damn near every other kill was really good. There are a few things I am going to give props to in terms of special effects, because there were a few things that stood out and were exceptionally awesome. The first one is the fucking Lumberjack man's costume, because he has this mask and it covers like most of the face. The only thing you can really see is his lower, jaw. The mask looks like it's made out of like tree bark, like literally he just like shaved off the side of a tree and strapped it on his face. Looks really cool. And the wig that he has on it looks all freaking like wild and, scraggly and shit, and it looks really cool. The best part about the mask is that the eyes light up and it looks fucking awesome. So we have that mask, and we have the costume, and everything on our Lumberjack man looks awesome. I understand that that's partially costuming, but I'm going to throw costuming in with special effects because the rest of the costuming was fine. But that stood out. That was exceptionally cool shit. Now, the one thing I'm going to praise for special effects, actual proper, like, special effects, is during the mess hall massacre when he's killing the entire staff of this Christian children's camp. At one point, he grabs a fucking hatchet and he basically, like, whips it. And you see a CG hatchet as it spirals across the fucking room. You actually see the whole thing as it's spinning across the fucking room until it buries itself in the forehead, in the forehead of some stupid bitch who couldn't be asked to fucking duck. All of that looked awesome. The actual CG hatchet is sitting there and it's like twirling across the screen. Looked really good. Everything else here in terms of gore and blood looks fantastic. That's really about the only positive I'm going to give this movie is the kills and the gore that went into the kills. Everything else in this movie's kind of shit. Well, I guess on technicals, the sound mix here is fine, the lighting here is fine. Camera work, honestly, is kind of shaky at times. And what I mean is, if there's somebody who is walking through the woods, the cameraman is like walking backwards, and they must have hit like a hole in the ground because all of a sudden, as they're sitting there and they're like walking backwards, the camera will suddenly go. As if the cameraman was either walking backwards or was being like dollied backwards, and it hit a fucking like pothole, and it just kind of like shifted a bit, and you can see the camera move, and it's a really weird thing, and it's not just something which happens once, it happens constantly. So I can totally comment on that. The camera work here is kind of iffy and sort of shit. Going back to writing for a second, because this is a horror comedy, how is the humor? There wasn't a single joke here which made me even smile. That's really about all I can say. The humor here is trying way too hard to be funny, and when you're trying that hard to be funny, it's going to fail miserably on you. Okay, and this thing is total evidence of that. They actually had a joke where Sessler's character is like the most white bread, clean fucking cut dude at this entire camp. And he never swears when he's one of our last 4 survivors, and the other 3 are talking about the whole fact that his weakness is syrup. Sessler's character all of a sudden shows up and just starts screaming and swearing, and the joke is, oh look, he's finally swearing. It probably would have been funnier if Adam Sessler could actually act, and if he wasn't biting down on every single swear word in order to make sure that you can tell that he's saying fucking and shit and bitch. But no. Instead, it sounds horrifically forced, and it probably wouldn't have worked if you had given it to an actor who knew how to fucking act. I mean, it was just poorly written shit. So yeah, even the humor in this thing is just pretty bad. Ultimately, guys, when all is said and done, can I recommend Lumberjack Man? Oh boy. If you can find it on YouTube. I actually had to hunt to find the fucking thing. So, if you can find it, by all means, check it out, because what the hell, it's fucking free. To actually pay for this thing? Fuck no. But if you can find it on like Netflix or Hulu, or if you find it on YouTube or Dailymotion or something, go ahead, check it out. It's fucking free. And you will still at least get some really decent special effects. You are going to get some really creative kills. If you're really into fucking titties, you're going to get a ton of those. But if you're looking for something with, like, substance, if you're looking for something interesting, no. This is not in any way good. This movie bit hard ass. I honestly was kind of hoping for it to be decent, but no. No, this thing is fucking trash, straight up. So, once more, if you are looking for just gore and titties, try to find it for free. For the love of God, don't fucking pay for it. If you're looking for a good horror movie, avoid this thing, because it fucking sucks. goddamn, I'm feeling ridiculously let fucking down by this one, guys. I really had hopes. I did. I was hoping for something that was going to be at least interesting or kind of funny, and all I got were a handful of interesting kills and a performance that I wish I never had to fucking see. So yeah, there's no way I can recommend this thing on almost any reasonable level outside of if you're looking for blood and titties. And since I personally expect more out of a movie than just copious amounts of blood and titties, I cannot justifiably recommend this thing on any other basis outside of if you're a shallow dick who's into blood and titties. Anyway, I am done talking about this thing. After watching this, I honestly am kind of in the mood for fucking pancakes. I'm gonna go down to IHOP. I'm gonna go get myself some fucking pancakes, because god damn it, I feel like it. And with that, my friends, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care. I will see you all in the near future. Peace. I understand that most of you have probably already left comments before the video even ended. Oh my god, Emer, Michael Madsen wasn't in Holes. What the fuck, dude? Yeah, I know, I fucked up. Apparently I was getting Michael Madsen and Jon Voight confused. I don't know how I made that fucking confusion. So, I then started looking at his filmography. And, yeah, he really does have a history of being kind of shit. He was in fucking Blood Rain, he was in Species and Species 2. Michael Madsen's had some really shit performances. My point still fucking stands that sometimes he's really decent, and other times we get Species and Blood and fucking Blood Rain and, well, Lumberjack Man. So my point still, stands. I just thought I'd make this, correction, because otherwise I know the comment section is going to be flooded with shit. It probably is already flooded with shit. But oh well. Now, I'm off to IHOP. I'll see you guys later. Peace.